If you're watching this hunched over, this is a reminder to pull the shoulders back and sit upright. Hi, my name is Umar and I'm a yoga instructor and an FRC movement specialist. I've been teaching yoga for a little over 7 years now. My youngest student has been 7 years old and my oldest was 87. And what I've observed throughout my teaching is that people, depending on whatever kind of lifestyle they have, or the sport that they play, or the kind of workout that they do, the kind of job that they do, they have or develop these pattern problems and injuries. And I want to just touch on that today and use this platform to talk about how easy it is to actually work towards fixing these problems and not let them stay and basically get worse over time. So for example, I've taught teachers who, because they write on the board a lot, they get these shoulder nerve impingements in the dominant arm. And then this obviously gets worse and worse because they're still using the same arm to write, not fixing the shoulder. People who play golf a lot, they would get one knee injured a lot because they twist and one knee takes a lot of the stress. Professional drivers, people who drive a lot, they would sit a lot and develop hip and back problems leading up to sciatica. And in my experience, just one little exercise done repeatedly over a couple of days actually fixes it, and they don't have to take painkillers for that. So people who have desk jobs, for example, and basically pretty much everybody, all of us, we tend to kind of hunch over and round our shoulders, or sometimes we love sliding in our seat and we really just round the neck and round the body when we're on our gadgets or watching a TV, right? This develops a problem which is very common and leads to so many other problems, and that's technique. Technique is basically something that you develop in your neck, and you start to round your neck. You'll probably notice people who have their heads kind of falling over their chest. You also see some people have little bumps on the base of the neck. And two things are going very wrong when you develop a technique. One is that you're rounding your shoulders, your head is falling forward, and you have a very tight rib cage. Let's talk about this first. So because you're sitting in a position where you're rounding your shoulders so much over time, your intercostal muscles, the muscles between your ribs, become shorter. And so if you're ever told to kind of sit upright, or you want to sit upright and breathe in, you find it very uncomfortable because those muscles over time, as the body adapts, become shorter. And so then you cannot breathe in the same amount of air anymore. So once you're here and you're used to sitting with a rounded back, you're not breathing in enough air, because of which the body adapts and the heart pumps more blood to the lungs to oxygenate the same amount of blood that you would in the same amount of time, which raises your blood pressure, right? Because now the blood is pumped faster to the lungs. You're breathing more air in because you cannot breathe in the same amount of air anymore. So now that you have high blood pressure, you would go to a doctor or a health professional and take pills for blood pressure, which sets you on a path where you start taking in toxins which you do not need to. Another problem of a technique is you changing the curvature of the neck. So if you look at somebody from the side, you'll see that the neck, or healthy neck, would go in. So the curve goes in, it comes out from the upper back, and then it goes in again in the lower back. So this curvature of the neck, which needs to be the way it is for healthy functioning of the neck and everything, is going to reverse itself. So now that you're rounded, it's going to change the shape of the skeleton. Now you got to understand that muscles hold the skeletal system up. So when you change the muscles over time, they become shorter. It changes the shape of the skeleton, right? Now, because of this, you're going to have so much pressure on your trapezius. Your erectors in the spine, they're pulling your head back up all the time. And you would get massive migraines. And even if this is not the reason of you getting migraines, this would be one of the very major reasons of you getting migraines. So for this, it's very simple. You keep the shoulders back and you sit upright. And make sure that the ears are right on top of the shoulders. They're not falling forward. If they are, you go stand against the wall, you pull your shoulders against the wall, you pull your head against the wall. That's how the posture should be throughout the day. Okay, a very simple exercise that you can do at your home. Just get a small towel. Please don't take a big towel, it's not going to work with it. Get a small towel, roll the towel up, keep it tight, and then sitting upright or standing upright, keeping the shoulders back, take the towel behind your neck. Now here, we're not pulling the towel down. We just let the weight of the hands or the arms pull the towel down on its own. Keeping the shoulders back, just going to look up enough that you can look up at the ceiling. You do not need to take the head back so far that gives you any discomfort in the neck. Just look up enough, bring the head down, and then repeat this 20 times. And then repeat the entire thing 3 or 4 times during the day. Hopefully, in days, if not in weeks, this helps you fix that technique posture. Demonstrate a small exercise that all of you can do it wherever you are. It's very simple. You do not need any fancy equipment for this. Another very common problem is our knees, and you do not need to be very old to develop knee problems. And most of the time, these knee problems are not actually happening in the knee. They're happening either around the ankles or around your hips. And again, these are developed because you have some pattern kind of problems going on, or some postures that you're taking or doing a lot. Maybe you're creating an imbalance by, let's say, standing on one leg too much, or let's say you're running a lot, but you're not stretching your Achilles tendon, the strongest tendon actually in the body, right above your heel. I was teaching this under 19 camp at PCB, and though those kids were in the teens, they had also, because of their sport, had developed very common kind of leg problems. So there's a lot of data, there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about on knees, but all of us can benefit from how we land the feet on the floor. And so most of the people do not actually have flat feet. They just land their feet on the inner arches. That's a kind of a lazy way of walking with their ankles collapsed. So the 2 things that you can do, one is that you really splay your toes. And for that, you need to have an open shoe, or at least not very, very tight shoes. And so splay the toes and then try and press more weight on the pinky side of the feet, which is going to lift the arch up. You're going to get tired in the beginning. You're going to feel some cramps in your arches, but your ankle would be very straight. And this would help you not have knee problems, because once the ankle collapses, it's going to change the structure of the ankle, which is going to in turn change the structure of the knee, which again goes up to your hip and then goes up to your spine. So very tiny things, splaying the toes, pressing more on the pinky side is hopefully going to help you improve your quality of life a little bit. Thank you.